Hello, internet friends. I'm Danny Shaw, and I have just come up with uh, a routine called that I call double cross. Um, and here is what it looks like. Double cross is something that Jay Whipper and I talked about at the Los Angeles Whip Cracking Convention back last last convention, and we talked about. He showed me a crack he does called the Hungarian Pig Drover crack. It looks like this, and it's kind of like doing a breakaway, but without the first two cracks. So it's just like this. And it caught my attention when he did it, and I asked him like, "Oh, tell me what that is," and he explained it to me, and he told me that his like goal with it was to be able to do it both ways in both hands during a Queensland crossover, and he was halfway there. He could do it with one hand, but the other hand just did the Queensland crossover, the basic one. So I loved that idea. I was like, dude, that's super cool. So when I got home, I started thinking about it, and it took a while before I got it, but one day it just kind of clicked and it became easy to do. So here is my tutorial on how to do it. Some ideas of what I think is important and how to make it look good and sound good. So the first thing is, obviously, it's going to be more comfortable if your non-dominant hand is your lead hand. So I'm left-handed, which means that I want my right hand to crack first in the Queensland crossover. The reason that this will be helpful is it's easy to do the first crack. So it's easy to do this one and this one if it's cracking first. But it's really hard to throw in the second set. And if you were trying to add the second set of cracks with your weaker hand, it would be way harder to get those cracks, and especially to get those cracks loud. So I can change lead hands in this routine, and I recommend that you practice that. But if you're just trying to do this trick at its basic, and you want it to look loud, sound loud, and look good, I recommend that you practice with your non-dominant hand being your lead hand. So if you're right-handed, you would want your left hand cracking first, like this. So with that out of the way, all there really is to it is doing the Queensland crossover, and then with your lead hand adding one crack at a time. So I'm going to start by adding this crack. So that'll look like this. And just make sure you're very comfortable with that, because if you're not comfortable with that, it's going to just get sloppier and sloppier trying to add more and more. The next crack to add, you could do it however you think is best, but my thoughts and Justin's thoughts were to do one hand first and then the other hand, not to go right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. So the next one we've got in here. Now we want to add this this other crack. So that's going to look like this. And I would say you should practice these literally one at a time. Don't try to, once you're comfortable with this way, now, let's say you got that. Now just tuck that in your back pocket and go for a different crack. So now I'm going to do it like this. Gosh darn it. you know, whip cracking is all fun and games until you tangle. It's something that you just have to trick your brain to like it when your whips tangle. Otherwise, you'll get nowhere. I remember untangling my whip so much, and it was so frustrating. And then I started cracking 2 whips, and I was amazed how much more my whips tangled with 2 and with 1. And it can be pretty frustrating, but just be brave. Don't worry about it. We're all human and we all tangle. Okay, let me try that again. So far, we're just working on getting 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to try to add that into the Queensland crossover. So now we know how to do 2 cracks in one hand. Now try adding them both to the Queensland crossover. So one right after the other, like this. So that is going to be you're halfway there. And this is where Justin was when he first showed me the Hungarian pig drover crack back in January. And I couldn't even do that at the point that he showed me. So it took a lot of practice, but just work on that. Once you get halfway there, it's all, you're halfway there. Now, for the other hand, you would just do the exact same thing. So we're not going to change lead hands. I still want my non-dominant hand leading, and I'm just going to go. It's tricky to sometimes not do those cracks once you get them. But let's see. Here we go. So you can see I'm just adding 1 crack to my left hand, but I'm not trying to do all those cracks that I can already do in my right hand. I'm just doing 1 crack at a time, building up the muscle memory I need slowly so that I can, once I've gotten all of the cracks covered well, then I can add them together and it should be easy. So here we go again. And then for the other one, the flick crack. So I will say, I think this one's the hardest because you've done 1, 2. So let's see. I kind of usually end up starting the double cracks after an overhead crack. So it goes like you got like 1, 2, 3, and then you have to do 4, and you're crossing. So your arms are crossed, and then you have to do this tricky crack. So this one is probably the hardest. It's the last set of your 2 cracks that you need to get that are probably going to be the hardest to get. But here goes. Oh my gosh. It's actually harder to do them on their own than it is to do them all at the same time. But that's why practicing them one at a time is going to make it so much easier to do them all at once. So just to recap, we're going to do 1, 2, and then we're going to do 3, 4. And if you just practice those a whole lot, you should just be able to do it. And it'll take a little bit of refinement. It really helps to video yourself doing this trick or look at yourself in a mirror, because this is one that can be really sloppy at first. But here I go. I'm going to do the whole thing. That's double cross. So a few last notes about it are, once you've gotten it, you can in fact change lead hands. Basic way obviously is just like this. And to add the double cracks to that pattern, you go and you're doing your double cross, and in this moment you're going to come around, but instead of going with just a flick, once your hand does the extra swing and comes to the bottom, you're going to do those two cracks here. So it goes like this. And yeah, so it's tricky, but it is possible to change lead hands. So changing lead hands, that's a possibility. It might be possible. I've thought about this a lot, but haven't come up with anything solid just yet. It might be possible to do a double Ben Hughes crossover or a double Tasman Flick crossover where you do something like but that in itself could be a totally different trick because it's on just a huge other level. So, you know, doing the trick, changing lead hands, possibly a Ben Hughes or Tasman Flick style double cross in the future. Maybe that one could be called multi-cross. Keep your eyes out for a video of that if I ever figure it out. And one last tip about it that I'd like to say is it's not quite a butterfly. The butterflies are pretty vertical. It really is super, like, you want it to be very horizontal. So you would like for all of the cracks to be happening very, very horizontal, very exactly parallel with the ground. You don't want it to be too much like this. You want it to be like this. Because that's the difference between doing a fast figure eight and a Hungarian pig drover crack. So I hope this video helps. I hope it inspires some of you guys to learn this trick. I've been wanting to come up with some amazing trick for a very long time, so this is exciting for me. If you have any questions, I'm not the best tutorial maker in the world, so please leave a comment. Thank you for watching this video. If you try this, tag me in it somehow. I want to see, and good luck. Thank you for watching.